Actually, my personal mantra is get stuff done. And that, ironically enough, it came from a moment during the Pocket Fire in 2017, is sitting there with Marshall Tuberville, a key friend, doing a video where we sat down and we looked and we analyzed the map, and all the community, they just wanted to know a situational awareness. They needed to know what happened last night, what happened today, where are we going tomorrow, where the dozer lines are, where we need to be afraid. And as you all know, in those days, what was happening is on the news, there was fireballs, right? Always from that first night. The eye candy, right? Not the work, not the bulldozer, the hand dozers, the work that you're doing on the ground. It was all the flash. It wasn't the service, right? And so everybody gravitated towards all of these updates that Ben Nichols and other people have been going through, and how we've all been adapting to make sure that we as a community got your backs also. So we get out of the way, so you can do what you need to do to help us, right? So first and foremost, raise your hand if you're a family member. It shows. How proud are you? Get loud. How proud are you? Jessica Moser, I just sat next to your mom and she almost burst into confetti. I swear to God, when you walked in, and your sister, it was the coolest thing. I was like, you know, that, if I could just bottle that up and take it around, that is what our community and what we all need in these days. We've been through trials and tribulations, fires, floods, drought, pandemic, social unrest, divisiveness all around us. But we sit here today unified because you all have made a commitment to service above self. And it's awesome. And it's the good stuff in this world. And we honor you. As a community, we look at the grander scheme of things. We look at what people call the new normal. We think about Diablo winds in these hills. Heck, I always knew about Santa Ana winds. And I knew growing up here that we had big winds in the wintertime and big storms and other things. But these October winds that are coming along and scaring us deep to our bones and making us question our reality and where we live, there's two things you can do when you encounter a new reality. You can run and hide, or you can stand strong and dig in and forge progress. And that's why you see things in your community now, which is just not words and fluff, but it's $9 million this year to go into the fire agencies to create a new floor, not a ceiling, for their base level funding from my supervisors that we fought for. It's also why you see $25 million in veg management money and an additional $50 million in a partnership between us and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, on a BRIC grant that gets into calming areas, shaded fuel breaks, home hardening, defensible space. But as you all know, for them to do their jobs, you and I, we need to do our jobs. We need to make sure that we're out of the way so that they can defend our community. In 2017, we were caught on our heels. Everybody. There was that quote about complacency a few minutes ago. We were complacent. The systems, the individuals, we thought that that wouldn't happen to us, right? So what happened is during a firefight, you all, your compadres, the people who were out there in the field, were evacuating people in a flurry trying to save lives instead of doing what you do best, what you're trained for. So you're knocking on doors and getting people out. In 2019, after 2 years of crazy trench work that everybody did, all these fire districts, all of us, all of you, we had a chance to prove ourselves. I call it the Tale of Two Fires. Kincaid came knocking, right? Up in the hills, fire already going. I go up there with somebody and we're looking at an area called the Catcher's Mitt, where the fire is just like down, kind of skunking around, as they say, right? And they're just dropping whatever they can on it. And remind yourselves that this was a fire that had the entire armada from California there. It wasn't like the Wall Bridge and others when there was 1,000 fires around the state. It was the fire in the state. It had all the engines, it had all the aircraft, it had 4,000 to 5,000 firefighters from the mutual aid system. It was inspiring. And yet still, that fire was not a normal fire, it was a natural disaster because of 100-mile-an-hour historic wind event while it was burning already. And for those in the community who think that fires and natural disasters are not a little bit different, let me remind you that for things like hurricanes and tornadoes, there are not hurricane fighters and tornado fires. There are firefighters. There's a difference between the natural disaster of a wind-driven event and fire tornadoes, where you just have to get people out of the way, and other things that you can mitigate, that you can do the work, that you can dive in, that you can kick butt, right? So you all have to analyze this every day. I am not the professional, right? My job is to make sure you have the resources so that when you graduate the academy, you got a job, right? That you can go put what you have put on the table with 500 plus hours, and you can go put it to work, okay? So the most amazing thing happened in the middle of the 2019 fires that a lot of people don't know about, okay? Is on that night when the second big wind event came, I had a chance to just be a witness to something really cool. When I say cool, inspiring, awe-inspiring for me. I was over at the Luther Burbank Center, and I was called over there by a couple folks, and what had happened is because the locals had been subsumed by the big disaster management system, the Red Hats, right? They do a great job. But because the locals had all been subsumed within that, and it is a beast, it's a bulldozer that's going through to defend, the locals had asked in a very authoritative way to be detached from that whole system, to say, okay, we got the whole mutual aid system, but this is our community. And so I saw all the names lined up there. I show up and there's like Goldrich and Bodega Bay and Rohnert Park and Petaluma and Geyserville and Cloverdale and all these names on hats, and they sit down and they have formed their own strike team, right? And they, just like that awesome music that gives you the tingles, they get into it. They're not just giving speeches to each other. Strike team A, over here, you're gonna go after there. You're gonna engage, engage, engage. Strike team B, you're gonna follow this section. You know the roads better than anybody. Who knows it best? You do, I do. I'll run lead. No ego, right? No ego. Attack. Jason, Chief, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go here. We got these 3 quadrants covered. And then, trust your training. If you see something, engage. If you see a conflagration, leader's intent. You practice 580 hours, many of you working with agencies at the same time, right? But those who know the world best understand that you play as you practice, right? And you know what you're doing. So our job is to support you. We are only Sonoma Strong because we empower you to take care of us. You all have stepped up into public service. That's why I got the chills. That's why I do what I do. It's why others do what they do. Your family is here. There's a bunch of confetti bombs going all around this place. Absolute joy. And I just want to tell you that you are the foot soldiers of the future. And I can't wait to have a time when I get to see you all in action the way I saw these other people in action throughout these 5 years. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be with you all. Please, everybody, give a round of applause to these people. Our community thanks you. Not just those in this room. Our community thanks you. God bless you. Thank you.